Alright everybody, it's Tim Weisberg here. I'm going to try and make sure I look in the right spot for the camera. I'm here in the newsroom right now of WBSM and Phone 107, and I'm in the process of turning down all the equipment because we have audio and stuff going around all over the building. So I'm turning it all down. Police scanner down. Let me flip the camera over so you can see what I'm doing. Turning down the sound on the computer. This computer doesn't have anything open, but I will turn down the sound anyway. That's my computer. That's my background. I'm going to grab my water and take that with me. So now everything is turned off in the newsroom. So we will turn that light off. Oh, there is all kinds of equipment in here, so we are going to have some background noise, some hum. I'll turn that down. I'll turn off this beep that tells you when you're off the air. So basically, if we go off the air, I have no idea what's going on. And I just got a message that I may have a guest joining me. Sorry about that. So I had a message from somebody who said they might be joining me, so let's, they always hate when I do this. But let's turn off the TV. Sorry for the spinning around so much. So the TV is off. I'm going to turn down the audio on the board. So those of you who watch Spooky South Coast know that this is where we do the show. So I turned off the sound there. And I'm going to turn off the sound even though the door is closed in Fun 107. This is the, for those of you who have never seen, this is the Fun 107 studio in the dark. So I'm going to turn down that monitor as well. So now none of the audio is running on any of the stuff here. Nobody is in the building, although I may be joined by someone shortly. And did I turn off some of the pixels from my camera? No, Matt, I actually upped my camera. Why? Does it look bad? I actually recently upped my video camera quality. Here's what I brought in to use tonight. I have a couple of... Does it look bad for real? Because I can start again if the quality is not good. I'm also not on the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi usually messes up my camera. No, I'm serious. If it looks bad, let me know. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I can fix it without having to go offline. Alright, I just switched to Wi-Fi. So maybe that was the difference. Usually the Wi-Fi, when I do my live videos, the Wi-Fi kind of cuts it off. The Wi-Fi will crap out on me when I'm in my news booth, so I'm wondering if that's what the issue was. Okay, anyway, so here's what I brought in. I have a couple K2 meters, a couple Mel meters. I brought in an electronic candle in case we decide to do some mirror gazing. My dowsing rods, I have my mag light, and I have my laser grid, which will look pretty good. Oh, I shouldn't flash out the window because people won't know what's going on. So that's what I brought in for equipment. I'm just going to take everybody on a quick spin around. First, we have a weird setup here where I have to go outside the door to shut off the lights. Okay, now I figure that lighting might be a problem once I turn everything off. So give me a second. I'm wearing a glow light here, so I'm hoping that will help cast enough light. So now the video will be a little bit cruddier looking, but that's because we're in the dark. So as you can see, all of these offices are empty. Nobody's around. I can't do anything about this light. That's an emergency light. That's going to stay on. I'm just trying to show everybody. These are the bathrooms down here. This light will go off. Actually, I'll turn it off. And I can do the same. Ladies' room is off. I believe that's a safety light. That's going to stay on. Nope, here's a switch. Yeah, that's going to stay on. In fact, I don't know what that switch operates. So this is the engineer's room where we have all the processing equipment in here too. So that's going to be running. So you'll always have noise from that. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. Bear with me. Filling up my water. Matt, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like there's a ghost of a bear back there or something. All right, I have water. So now, this is just a former office. It's now going to become a lounge area, so there's nobody back there. All these offices here are closed. I can turn off this light. So that's probably about as dark as I'm going to be able to make it. And down this neck of the woods too, we have another studio in here, another office over here. So I think I've shown you all the layout as best that I can. And again, I'm the only one here. So while we're waiting for somebody to join us in just a bit, let me switch the camera around. So what are some of the reports that we hear from this place? We are in, for those of you who are not familiar with spooky South Coast, we're on the south coast of Massachusetts. So New Bedford area, we're in Fairhaven, Massachusetts technically, but the New Bedford area. So if you looked at a map of Massachusetts, you see the arm that comes out, that's Cape Cod. We're right along the bottom half leading up to that arm. So that's where we would be. Kristen says, ask them who keeps taking her stuff from the printer. We will definitely do that. So we just figured that for National Paranormal Day, we would conduct an investigation here. Last year we did some investigations, some Ouija board sessions. Stephanie was here using her psychic medium abilities. This year I figured we would try an investigation with some other stuff so that we could see what's going on here, because there is a lot of activity that happens here in our studios. There's certainly been, for those of you who listen to the show, years of instances where stuff would go haywire with the computer while we're on the air, especially if we mention Amityville. But we've also had numerous other things that have happened here over the years as well. For example, back here in the kitchen area, I'm going to switch the camera over. No. I don't know why it's not working. Sometimes my touch buttons I can't operate them. There we go. I have huge fingers. So back here, we have these cabinets that are pretty much always closed. And all that's inside of them is, you know, basic office, kitchen supply stuff, K-cups, all that kind of stuff. And actually this seems a little sticky. I don't know if it's just sticky or if they added a magnet to it. No, it just seems like it's sticky. That's kind of gross. But these cabinet doors, we will be doing the show. I'll come back here before the show starts. I'll use the restroom. I'll go in and I'll do the show. And then when we come back out, you know, cabinets will just be open. That's happened for years. And then Matt's mentioning a shadow figure by the studio door, and I will bring you down to where that happens. And what's funny is my guest that's coming to join me in a few minutes has shared the same story. I'll let him tell it when he gets here. So here we are doing the show in the spooky studio, and normally we have this door closed. And as you can see, there's a glass window. And yes, it is reflective of those windows outside, but on Saturday nights at 10 o'clock or midnight, there's nobody, or even later, because we're here pretty late sometimes, there's usually nobody walking through there. But we will see a shadow walking across, going by this window. Now that would be weird enough, except for the fact that this studio in here has a light that is motion activated. And when that shadow walks by the studio, it will come into this dubbing studio and activate the motion sensor light. So that means that it has enough mass for this sensor. That's true, Matt. It does happen when we leave the door open too. This sensor has enough whatever it is has enough mass to set off this sensor. I'm going to turn off the light so that stays off. Right? No? Alright. So now it should... So Bob asked the question, is there any way that all the servers and electrical energy from transmitting equipment could be helping something to manifest or help cause perception of activity? That's entirely possible, because if you look at this room in the dark that's right next to the studio, we have all of that stuff running constantly. All these distributors, all these processors running constantly. So if that's running, that's generating energy, and that energy could be helping fuel whatever is around here. Now, I will say this. Let me flip it around if I can. Oh, well, you don't need to see me anyway. I will say this, that we have had a couple of employees who have passed away. And that was why we didn't really share what happened last year on National Paranormal Day, because it took a very personal turn. And so if you can see up here, that was Sharon. She passed away suddenly a few years ago. She was very young too, in her 40s. And she passed away suddenly a few years ago, and her presence is felt here quite often. And there was another employee that worked here who would have a reason to want to stick around here. And those of you who listened to the early days of Spooky South Coast, the first couple of episodes of Spooky South Coast, may remember Evan Russo. He was the guy that trained us in how to get on the air and how to run the show. And he passed away a couple of years after we started doing the show. And we think that his spirit might be hanging around in here as well. So, sorry, I'm just going to need to take a drink if I keep talking. So, we certainly think that there's enough reason to investigate here with all the weird stuff that happens to us over time. And I'm just going to switch it over to myself for a minute. Sorry about that. So I need to just jump onto Facebook for a minute. And I'm going to go to Spooky South. This is probably not the interesting part of the video. But I'm going to share this out so that we can get all the people on my Facebook to watch too. And there we go. So now that's shared out on my personal timeline, and we can get some more people to watch and get some more people to check it out. because we will try to involve you in the investigation as well as we go along. We'll let you ask questions and we'll let you kind of guide where the investigation goes. So I think too what we'll do is when my guest comes, we'll see if we can add him into the live video as well. So we'll have two phones going around for the investigation, which will make it a little more interesting, I think. But why don't we start off while we're waiting? Why don't we start off with a baseline sweep of EMF and temperature? My guest is here now. Here he comes. Let's see if we can bring him up. And now I touched something on my screen and I can't get these stupid things to go away. Let's bring that down. All right. Well, Taylor is here. Taylor Cormier is here.
Hey.
And I was just saying that we might be able to, if we separate, we can add you into the live video.
Oh, so that would mean I have to use my phone?
Yeah, I might have to go into the Spooky account and just add you in as a contributor. But,
all right.
But that's something that we can do during the course of the investigation. I was just saying that I was brought in some equipment, and I'm going to use my Mel meter, which detects temperature and EMF, just to do a baseline sweep. And so, that shows up pretty nicely on the screen. So as you can see, we have 68.4 degrees. And when we go around to the back end of the building, we'll see how close that is to the thermostat temperature. So for those of you who have never conducted an investigation before, this is called taking a baseline, so that you know if there's any fluctuations. See, there's some offices back here, some cubicles. There might be a guy sleeping under a desk back there. Oop, there's a chair.
Stranger things have happened.
So 68.6 all the way around. So this is going to give us an idea. So that's where we're at.
Yep, even the thermostat says 68.
So this will let us know if there's any fluctuations in the temperature or the electromagnetic field. That means something's probably causing those fluctuations, and we presume that it could be spirit activity manifesting. Now watch this. Wow, that stuff is very well shielded. It only went up to 0.1. Point 2, 0.3, 0.5, but still, that's not as much of a fluctuation as I would have expected to see from this equipment. Frank will be happy to know that his equipment is well shielded. We'll see what happens when we get to the studio. So the reason why we check for temperature and electromagnetic field is because we feel that when a ghost manifests, it's an endothermic reaction, which means it's drawing in heat energy. And when it does that, it will cause cold spots, and it will cause the electromagnetic field to go up. And then when it dissipates, the opposite happens. The temperature returns to normal, the electromagnetic field will go down to normal. Wow, I'm very impressed. You know what I'm going to do too? Just so it doesn't feel left out. I'm going to give Taylor a K2 meter, which is the same idea. This detects the electromagnetic field. You just want to move it very slowly, because if you move it too fast, it'll light up anyway from the motion. Now let's see what kind of problems this thing causes. Yeah, I see 4.6. Yeah, so this stuff definitely packs more of a punch, which is why I'm not surprised that the activity happens in this area, because this energy could be feeding it. Right, we'd never be able to do this if it was here. But now, there's two schools of thought about this. One is that this high level of EMF close to the studio could be causing could be feeding the activity for happening. But also, if it's that high up, I mean, 4 or 5.0 means that it's also possible that we as human beings are feeling that electromagnetic field. We're sensing it. And if you're sensitive to it, that can perceive itself, can manifest itself in perception of a feeling that somebody's watching you, fingers on the back of your neck, maybe like an itchy back sensation, feeling like you have spiders crawling on you, things of that nature. So that will be symptoms of what they call EMF sickness, which means that you're feeling a high level of the electromagnetic field. But it doesn't usually mean that you'll see things. So that's our baseline sweep. Now, the fun part. Now we can actually investigate through different methods. There's some different stuff that we can try. We can go old school with, I'm going to get this to work eventually.
Need a flashlight?
No, I'm just trying to touch the...
I think if you swipe up on your screen.
No, I apparently moved all the conversation over there. I'll get it. Yeah, see, if I use my other finger, it works fine. All right, so we have old school methods, such as the dowsing rods, which dowsing rods... Oh, the sound was out? I had no idea that the sound was out. I apologize. Can you hear me now? I had no idea, I'm sorry. So the dowsing rods can be used to detect energy fluctuations, and they use dowsing rods to find water. So if there was running water nearby, it would be picking up the... I can't believe the sound was gone, I'm sorry. We would pick up the flow of the water, but we're pretty good here. We're far enough away from the water that we shouldn't have any issues. And then we also have an electronic candle, which means maybe at some point we'll put Taylor in the bathroom in front of the mirror.
Oh, great.
And have him do mirror scrying, which is where you hold the mirror under your, the flashlight under your chin, and you stare in the mirror, and you see if anything manifests in your reflection.
Oh, thank you. That would be lovely.
The mic might have actually been pressed against my chest. I'm not very good at recording things on my phone. So, and then I also have the technological stuff as well. We have the millimeter, we have the K2 meter, we have, the flashlight test, which a lot of people will discredit and say just simply the metal that connects the battery to the flashlight chassis expanding and contracting is causing the light to come on and off. But I've had some pretty interesting responses where basically what you do is you set the mag light to the point where the light is just barely ready to come on with the slightest tap, and then you place it somewhere, and then you ask the spirits to go over and tap the light in order to communicate with you. And so when you say, oh, can you make it, tap 3 times in a row, and it works 3 times in a row. So I think I'm putting my hand over where the microphone is.
There's something on your phone.
Okay. So that's my issue. How's that? Can you hear me better now? I'll try to only hold it from the middle then, if that's the case. I think it was totally my hand over the microphone.
So what's this doodad here?
That is called a laser grid. That's just a diffused laser beam that will break off. And so what we would do is we would shine it down. Actually, let's just do it. Oh, I don't want a pop socket, Kristen. I would feel so weird having a pop socket. So what we would do is we would shine it down this hallway, and there should be an elastic around it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just roll the elastic down so it goes over the on button. It might take a little finagling to get it to work, but...
Okay.
And then we will place it... let's see if we can put it maybe right here. See, it might be darker if we do it. Yeah. Yeah, let's try this. It might show up better on the video.
Automatic light there.
So I don't know how well this will show up on the video, but the idea is that you use that laser beam, that diffused laser. Oh, as soon as I came in, I turned the light on.
Yeah, this thing's... There we are.
Okay. So that diffused light from the laser, which you can see there, will hit the wall. Looks like the battery's already dying on it. And it'll break it up into little bits, and then you'll just sit there and try and get something to walk across.
Dead.
It died?
Yeah. Hold on.
Might just be the elastic isn't holding it down.
No, it's dying. I'm holding it down right now.
That's all right. I've got batteries for that in the car. Oh, I'm gonna guess that's
Dirty Deb.
Dirty Deb calling on the phone. Should we answer it?
Sure. Let's
Put her on speaker.
WBSM.
Who's this? This is Dirty Dep.
This is Top Cat.
Shit.
Yeah.
Man, are you kidding me? Hey, the Red Sox are down big time.
Oh no.
Like 10-6 or something like that, or 10-3, I don't know.
Thank goodness for you, because I don't have a radio to listen to it. Yeah.
Oh,
Spooky's here too. She hung up. It's our favorite caller.
Yes, she calls frequently throughout the night. All right, so maybe we'll put that on hold. I'll have to get a AAA battery for that. But basically, you would shine that down the hallway or into a darkened room and expect that the spirits would